Special teams killed the New York Islanders last year, and if they have any hope of improving this year, they're going to have to be better on both the PK and the power play. I know changes have been made. We'll talk about their impact and whether it's good enough next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for almost 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 to the modern era. So glad you could join us today and talk a little Islanders hockey, and we have got a lot to discuss on today's show. The power play, the penalty kill. We know how much they struggled last year and how much it cost the New York Islanders. Well, there's some new coaches, some new players, but we're going to break down whether or not those changes are good enough and the impact they'll have on the team. Plus, a good sign concerning Islanders promotions for the upcoming season. We're going to talk about that as well. Let's start with special teams because realistically, the Islanders season last year ended in a large part because of special teams. Everydayers, you know how much we've talked about it over the last year and a half. The Islanders last year, 31st out of 32 NHL teams on the power play, just a 12.6% success rate. The penalty kill also 31st or next to last in the NHL, a 72.2% success rate. When you are 28th in the league in goals scored, 20th in the league in goals against, and you're dead next to last on both the power play and the penalty kill, you are not going to the playoffs almost under any circumstances. And to his credit, Mathew Barzal made some changes. And boy, were they needed. John McClain and Tommy Albalin, 2 members of the Lou Lamoriello New Jersey Devils Alumni Association, were let go after the general manager change by Mathew Barzal. And look, nothing against John McClain or Tommy Albalin, but the NHL, like all professional sports, is a results-oriented business, and the Islanders, for numerous reasons, did not get the results that you would want. So now Mathew Barzal has brought in Ray Bennett to help run the power play this year, and Bob Boughner to help run the PK. And when you break it down, there are definitely players with potential who can help improve the power play. And let's start with the most obvious. Mathew Barzal. If Barzal is healthy for 70 games instead of 30 this year, that should improve the Islanders' power play. That alone, having your best skater and the guy who, for the Islanders, tends to carry the puck and hold on to the puck and try to set things up, that should have an impact. And hopefully that helps. You've still got Anders Lee, who is the guy who goes in front of the net, tries to screen the goalie, get rebounds, deflections, make life miserable for defensemen who would then have to move him out of the way. And even if that's all you do in front of the net, and it's never really all you do, but you get a guy in there and, he has to try to battle for position with a guy in front of the goal. First of all, there's two bodies in front of the goalie, bigger screen. And second of all, it creates more space and open ice for the other four players in the offensive zone on the power play. Just like a 4-on-3 power play is more dangerous than a 5-on-4, you get the guy in front of the net, you have a defenseman battling with him, it's a de facto 4-on-3 in a lot of ways, plus you're screening the goalie. You have the addition of Jonathan Drouin, who, again, if he stays healthy, if he can live up to, expectations, because he's not going to be playing with Nathan MacKinnon this year, obviously, but he did have 12 points on the power play in 43 games with the Avs last year. FYI, that would have tied him for the Islanders team lead, 12 points, because that's what Noah Dobson had. And again, let's say he plays 65 games, and let's say he can give you 16 points on the power play. That is a big help. In theory, a healthy Anthony Duclair should help the power play. Anthony Duclair, with his speed, with his shot, should be able to contribute something more on the power play, certainly than he did last season, which was obviously a disappointment and a mess. I mean, Duclair only scored 7 goals in 44 games, but 3 of them did come with the man advantage. And even if you just say, okay, give him 6 goals if he plays 82 games this year, that would have led the Islanders last year. So you've got guys, you've got Kyle Palmieri, Bo Horvat, Simon Holmstrom can help on the power play. Maxim Siplikov, we don't know about Maxim Shabanov. What I think the power play might be a good place for him to get some confidence going. There are tools here. Now, last year, hopefully the coaching change helps fix a lot of the problems that we saw a year ago. Because what we saw a year ago was a lack of motion, a lack of players moving without the puck, a lack of quick passes. Look, the goal on the power play is to make your penalty killers move a lot, tire them out, get them out of position, find the open man for a good scoring chance, and score. You could do that. You could certainly, get the guy in front of the net, the Anders Lee spot, try to get those rebounds, deflections. Again, you have the extra guy. Someone should be open. Somebody should be able to do that. The odds of of a power play player getting to that loose puck are higher than a penalty killer because, again, you have the extra player on the ice. So all of that can help. And then I guess the other question, when you look at the power play, and there are many, and we'll continue to talk about it throughout training camp and the offseason and into the regular season. Obviously, Noah Dobson was your number one power play quarterback. Now, I don't think he was great at that position. I mean, I think Mike Riley and Tony DeAngelo actually have better vision and better understanding of how to run the power play as a power play quarterback than Noah Dobson did. But you're going to replace Dauber. And I think the two guys who kind of step up and do that, I think you'll see Tony DeAngelo on probably power play unit 1. And if he's on the team, I think Matthew Schaefer probably ends up as your quarterback of power play 2. And again, it'll probably take him some time, but on the power play, It's a little less physical because you penalty killers don't want to risk being out of position. You have a little more time and space to operate. It, again, could be the ideal place for Matthew Schaefer to get that confidence in his game. So there are reasons for hope that the Islanders' power play can be better. There is some talent here. Obviously, it has to be realized. There are players who can put the puck in the net, players who can quarterback the power play, but they have to go out and do it. And the new coach has to show that his system actually will lead to more opportunities to put the puck in the back of the net. And I am not going to be greedy. I know the Islanders, as they are currently constituted, are still not in the top half of the league, most likely in goals scored. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But I do think that we could really see this Islanders team do a good job of getting, let's say, to 18th or 20th in the league on the power play. Get me close to average. Get me in the middle. And I think, that's worth 2 or 3, maybe 4 wins over the course of 82 games if your power play is, let's say, 16th, which would be dead in the middle, as opposed to 31st. You do that, you can take a step forward in the standings. It won't be easy, but the potential is there. And now it's up to Patrick Roy and his assistants to make it happen. What about the PK? Are there reasons for optimism there? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. If you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family, maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands, that's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you could splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So the PK, as we mentioned, wasn't pretty. And the Islanders needed to be better than 31st in the league. It just, you're not going to the playoffs with both of your special teams looking that bad. So Bob Boughner does have experience. He was coach of the San Jose Sharks from 2019 to 2022. And over those years, the Sharks killed 84% of opposing power play chances. That was second in the league total for those seasons. I think that he will give more structure to the PK than what the Islanders have shown in recent years. And look, they made a change last year, bringing in Tommy Albaline. It didn't really help. But the good news is that there are players here. There is talent here. Guys who have experience on the PK who can clearly help this team improve. And look, Bo Horvat can play the PK, but he's not going to be your number one guy. But you've got J.G. Pageau. You've got Simon Holmstrom. They make a very good duo. Casey Cizikas, certainly experienced. Emil Heineman, who they just brought in from Montreal, certainly knows how to be effective on the PK. So that certainly is helpful. I think if he's in the lineup, Kyle McLean, Mark Gatcomb, these are guys who could help kill penalties. Obviously, Adam Pelech, Ryan Pollock, Scott Mayfield, Alexander Romanov, these are the type of players who can be on the ice to kill penalties. And I think, again, the potential is there. But it may take time with a new coach and a new system to get the players more comfortable in killing penalties. And the thing we have to see, last year, the Islanders' PK was far too passive. They didn't challenge the player with the puck. They backed up too much, and they were disorganized. Everydayers, how many times last season on the show did we say, on the penalty kill, puck went behind the net, both Islander defensemen went to the puck or went to the guy with the puck. Both penalty killers went to the and covered the same man, and two other men were left wide open. They backed up too much, allowed for easy zone entries, and let's face it, when the opposing power play can enter the zone with speed, space, and momentum, you're already on your heels and in trouble. So there's the talent on this roster right now on the PK is good enough that they shouldn't be next to last in the league, okay? I'm not saying this is the next great penalty killing team out there. I am not saying this is an elite penalty killing unit. But again, like the power play, can you get me to the middle? Can you go from 31st to 18th or 17th? Or I think even more so than the power play, I think the penalty kill can move even higher because you've got a goalie that's respected around the league in Ilya Sorokin. You've got a player who is experienced on the PK, two of them in Cizikas and in Pageau. And you've got a guy who scored, 5 shorthanded goals just a couple of years ago in Simon Holmstrom, who is still, learning and has not yet reached his full potential, both as a penalty killer and as an overall NHL player. I think with the right coaching and a couple of breaks and obviously some guys staying healthy, you can go out there and do some damage and really improve the penalty kill so that it is ranked a lot higher than it was a year ago. And again, it is very often the difference between winning and losing a game. And if improving the power play from 31st to 16th would get you 3, let's say, more wins, you could add another 2 or 3 wins if you could improve the penalty kill from 31st to 16th or even better. You add up 5 or 6 extra wins over the course of a season, that's 10, 11, 12 points, depending on how it all breaks down. That could be the difference between missing the playoffs and making the playoffs, losing a game and winning a game. Overall, special teams are vital to success in the National Hockey League. And the fact that the Islanders had dreadfully bad special teams last year, both on the power play and on the penalty kill, really prevented them from overcoming the odds and putting together a winning streak or two and making the playoffs. It wasn't the only thing, but it was a big factor. So, if people are talking about the path to improvement, obviously, get younger, faster, more skilled. That's our slogan here. It has been over the last couple of years. And now with Mathew Darsh in charge, the team is actually heading in that direction. But fixing special teams will go a long way toward improving this team even before some of these younger prospects are NHL ready. So coaching and just playing smarter and more effectively on special teams can really impact the New York Islanders. Let's see if these new coaches and their new approach and the addition of players like Jonathan Drouin on the power play, Emil Heineman on the PK, if those guys can have an impact on Islanders special teams. That is something we are all going to be watching for this year. Time now for, when we come back, we've got more to get to. We've got a good sign from the Islanders and their promotion calendar this year. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to have our Islanders birthday of the day. A player who came to the Islanders from the Hartford Whalers, was a big part of that 1993 run to the conference final, and who even had a 40-goal season for the Islanders. Let's see if you can guess who this Trail, British Columbia native is. We'll have that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Do you think Patrick Mahomes can win the MVP again? Or, hey, do the Buffalo Bills or Detroit Lions finally win a Super Bowl? Is this the year? Or maybe you think the Giants or the Jets are a dark horse to win their division. Check out all the latest odds and betting opportunities here on FanDuel. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. So check it all out at FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. So the Islanders released their promotional calendar. And look, I'm usually not somebody who spends a lot of time discussing the promotional calendar. It's a nice thing. And as a fan, it is certainly something that I do look forward to. But there was one piece of news that I really, really liked. The Islanders are going to have bobblehead nights, and for the first time in a couple of years, they're actually having bobbleheads of current players. And, November 26th, Islanders Bruins, that's going to be Mathew Barzal bobblehead night. January 31st, Islanders Predators, that's going to be Bo Horvat bobblehead night. And the bobbleheads will go to the first 10,000 fans who are in attendance. And look, in the past, in recent years, the Islanders have had other bobbleheads of, legendary players. I got a Mike Bossy bobblehead, for example, at one game, and I love that. I love getting your Gillies and your Trottiers and your Bossies, but at the same time, the fact that the team is actually going to be promoting some of their present players, it says something about how they view those players, how they want the fans to view those players, and it's to me, a mini step forward in promoting the team. And there are some other great promotions. I mean, you got the giving away a scarf on opening night. You've got Superheroes Day on a Columbus Day matinee, so young fans can enjoy that. You've got your Hockey Fights Cancer, your Military Appreciation Night, yearbook giveaway. They're giving away an ugly sweater, jersey, all kinds of first responder night. There are fun plans for the giveaways and the promotional activities this year. But to me, and it may not be a major thing, but I just am pleased overall that the Islanders are actually going to be promoting some of their current players on bobblehead night this year. It may not, like I said, it is not an earth-shattering thing, but it's a step in the right direction, and I'm happy about it. And it just says something about the mentality of the organization that this new front office is moving in that direction. All right, time now for our Islanders' birthday of the day, and Saturday will be the 61st birthday of former Islanders forward Ray Ferraro, the Trail, British Columbia native, 5'10", 192 pounds, a fifth-round pick of the Hartford Whalers back in 1982, so cue up Brass Bonanza. And, here's a guy who scored 30 goals for the Whalers in 85-86, 41 goals for Hartford in 88-89. Joined the Islanders early in the 90-91 season, and in 91-92 had 40 goals and 80 points. Followed that up with a 21-goal season in 93-94, a 22-goal season in just 47 games during the lockout-shortened 94-95 season. And in that Islanders run to the conference final in 1993, 13 goals, 20 points in 18 playoff games. Later played briefly for the Rangers, the Kings, the Atlanta Thrashers, and the St. Louis Blues. Ray Ferraro played in 1,258 NHL games, had 408 goals, 898 points, and 1,288 penalty minutes. Add 21 goals and 43 points in 68 playoff games. One of his better games with the New York Islanders. We take you back to January 7th, 1992. Islanders visiting the Red Wings at the old Joe Louis Arena. Steve Weeks, the goalie for the Islanders. Tim Cheveldae, the goalie for Detroit. And in this game, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Ray Ferraro gets the scoring started less than 3 minutes into the game. Benoit Hogue and Graham Townsend with the assists. That made it 1-0 Islanders. The Red Wings scored the next 2 goals. And then our Islanders' birthday of the day, Ray Ferraro scores again, his 22nd of the year. Townsend and Hogue again on the assists. That tied the game 2-2. They go into the third, and the Islanders pull away. Bill Berg pots the game winner, Ferraro assisting on that one. And then it's Ray Ferraro from Benoit Hogue, and Ray Ferraro unassisted less than a minute later. The Islanders win the game 5-2. Ray Ferraro, 4 goals, 1 assist. He's a +4. He had 5 shots on goal. 4 of them went in. Steve Weeks made 35 saves in a game. The Islanders were outshot 37-21, but they win it by a final score of 5-2. And Ray Ferraro had a part in all 5 goals. Ray Ferraro, a great Islander and a big part of that 93 playoff run. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NHL podcast. There is no offseason. We're bringing you the daily league-wide stories that matter most with the local coverage you love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You can follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR vs NYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and it's always great to talk a little Islanders hockey with you anytime. Everydayers, we are back on Monday. We'll have the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings, and some fresh insight as training camp gets closer and closer. We are just a couple of weeks away from going back to 5 shows a week and from start of training camp, about 3 weeks away. So I can't wait for that. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.